Morning, everybody. How we doing on this fine day? Let's see. It says that I'm live, but I cannot see myself. Hmm. Very, very, very peculiar. Hey, Detrice, let me know if you can see me. I can't see myself. Just a black screen currently. Good morning, though. Just trying to see if I can get this worked out. Let's see. Mm, This was actually the second. Okay, you can see me. Cool. For some reason, I can't see myself. This is actually the second, and also amazing to have you back, Vivian. Amazing to have you back. You know, amazing to see everybody here this morning. But I'm glad you guys can see me. I don't know why YouTube was bugging. I tried to start the stream earlier, and it said the stream unable to be started. So I was like, okay, and I had to try again. So I remade the stream, and then now apparently it's up. But I've just got a black screen, so I'm glad you guys can see me. I wish I could see myself, but hopefully you'll let me know if I got anything crazy going on. Right, I got you guys back. You got my back. We'll keep it tight. Um, but yes, good morning, all my queens in here: Detrice, Vivian, Sharon, Alicia. Good morning. Hope you guys had a great night's sleep. Hope you woke up, feeling ready to attack the day. If you're in Maryland, or your weather is the same as ours, then it might be a little bit more dreary of a day, but it's all right. We'll push through. We'll persevere. Put one foot in front of the other, and make sure to get 1% better today. It's just quite the rainy week this week. Like pretty much every day this week, it's going to be raining. So yeah, I feel like the April showers carried over into the May showers instead of more of the May flowers, and that's kind of where we're at with things right now, but it's all right. We'll push through, right? Push through, continue to crush it. And speaking of crushing it, it's a nice little segue into our CPI data, the inflation data we got this morning. But as always, make sure you put that one in the chat, whether you're watching live or via replay. This is our pre-market prep session where we go over the important, pre-battle measures that we need to review before that opening bell rings, and we run in, sword swinging, shields raised. We go over important data, news drops, commentary that are relevant to the stock market and to other markets as well. And we make this daily deposit in ourselves being here, and we look to reap those rewards based off of how we execute. Um, it's very difficult for you to do anything and do it well without having a system, without having rules, without having a certain mindset. There's reasons why I have rules, and those rules are in place, right? Like my gap up rule. Anytime we gap up, we're taking profit. What did that allow us to do? Yesterday, AMC sold off heavy over the course of the day. Every time we gap up, we're taking profits. What do we do? Ensure that even if the gap fill happens, we have locked down some type of profit off of that move. The reason why I instilled that rule is because of movements like yesterday. You have times where there's news that comes out on a stock, there's earnings that comes out, right? It could be some crazy meme stock that's moving wildly. You guys already know the drill, though. You know the drill, and you know my rule. And a lot of people say, "Oh, well, what if it gaps up and it continues going?" Okay, cool, right? You hold a runner or you get back in, but at this point, you don't look a gift horse in the mouth and say, "Nah." You don't look 1,000% return, which you can't get anywhere else in the world other than the casino right now. We got that twice, 2 times in a row in the same week, first time ever, right? Huge achievement for this community and for me personally. First time ever. I'm not gonna look that in the face and say, but could be 2,000%. No, you take that gap up, and if you want to leave a few runners, leave a few runners, but you make sure that you're covering your basis, right? Your basis cost and all that good stuff. Cover that, take that out, pay yourself. Otherwise, you won't get paid. And that is really what separates us and from a community from, frankly, the savages running around out here kind of free flowing and free balling things. When you have no rules, you have really no idea of how to do something, do it successfully, and do that over and over and over again. The rules that we have set in place are to make sure that, when you win, you're capturing those gains. When you lose, you're minimizing those losses. And also, you maximize your chances of hitting home runs, a few of which we've hit recently over the course of the past 2 sessions. So, I feel like this week it's always important to look back at what happened and say, okay, what does this underscore? It underscores the importance of following rules and having rules. A lot of people don't have rules. They're like, oh, what's happening? Let me see what's up. And then we gap up and they're like, oh, cool, we're just getting started. Nice. Take profit on the gap up always, right? Always. Whether we gap up or we have puts and we gap down, you take profit on the gap down, right? That is one of our fundamental rules, and it came in so clutch yesterday because we didn't have to worry about watching all this profit drain away over the course of the day because you're locking that down. So this infrastructure that we have with the pre-market preps is put in place for a reason. The rules that I have within my community are put in place for a reason. And if you're trading out here without rules and you're free balling and you find that you're struggling, go to a community with rules. Go somewhere that has systems. Go somewhere that has the correct mindset. So you don't have to worry about making the same mistakes that you could have paid someone else to circumvent. That's the whole point of having a mentor, having somebody else in the space that has experience, is that you can pay to circumvent the hardship, right? And it's a fraction of the cost of what the hardship over time will cost you. And I think speaking of AMC, another valuable insight that came with you guys being a part of this community and me being there and having this experience is that being able to pinpoint exactly the type of BS that you would see from AMC CEO, right? Which was them doing another stock offering in the middle of the stock pumping, which dilutes the stock, right? And kind of decompresses all the pressure that's built up. And that's what happened, right? So if you want to go on your like Apple News app and search AMC and pull it up, you might have seen it if you're plugged into like different stock news outlets as well. But yeah, stock offering in the middle of it running, he's like, hey, we're gonna offer even more stock. We're gonna dilute what we have. I'm gonna try and get even more money so I can get out of this failing company. It's exactly what I said yesterday when answering questions about, hey, what do you think about AMC now? Well, I think that it still has room to pump. It's tough because the technicals at this point, are far and few between in terms of like, oh, if we reach this point, then we can hit this point and da 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 da. The technicals kind of go out of the window a little bit when you're dealing with the type of situation that we were. But one thing that I knew for sure is that their CEO always wants to pull some BS, right? He always wants to pull some BS in the middle of a run and try and cash out. And that is exactly what ended up happening, right? That and the halts. I think between Game and AMC yesterday, both got halted somewhere around 40 times, 40 times, which is absolutely insane, right? And everybody goes, shouldn't that be illegal? Isn't it manipulation? Yes, it's manipulation. No, it's not illegal. Can I change that law? Absolutely not. But it is one of the big draws to crypto. And one of the big things that crypto enthusiasts always underscore is that you're never going to halt coin from trading, which is true as of right now. You're not going to halt a coin from trading, which is a big plus to crypto over stocks. But my thing is, if I could still make money doing it, I don't even care if it's difficult. I have a system to account for that difficulty, right? I warned yesterday before the market opened, hey, they're going to play with the bid ask spreads. They're going to, pause the trading. They're going to do all that. Expect it, understand it, and we'll go ahead and account for it and just close them when we can. If I'm going to say, oh, I could get 800%, now I'm only going to bring home 650%. Oh, well, it is what it is, right? But they're going to do everything in their power to stop you. So you just have to circumvent it. And at the end of the day, I'm willing to deal with that BS that might cause me 150%, decrease if I'm staring there looking at 800%, right? Or 650 or 350%. That's still exponentially more than I would have had sitting on my hands and doing nothing, right? So that also kind of leads into why I think that this can cause some stirrings in the crypto space, right? Specifically in more speculative coins like Doge, is because you have, people that have now kind of built up this fervor a little bit for speculation. And then you have the stock market kind of reminding everyone one of the big draws of crypto, which you don't have to deal with the BS of these market makers smothering out moves, and pretty much stopping people from doing what they're looking to do. You don't have to worry about that as much in crypto. So I feel like that can kind of lend itself where it's like we've got this degenerate YOLO energy, and then we've got, it being kind of pushed down and suppressed within markets. And we can see that. And we've already started to see that with people starting to say, oh, well, this doesn't happen in crypto. Maybe you should come over here. So that's just kind of a, speculative thought process as to where we could head next from here. But we'll see. I mean, at this point, it's already costed hedge funds billions just over the course of the past few days, with the cost of borrowing those shares now, borrowing GameStop shares and borrowing AMC shares in order to short. So we'll see, what happens and if the saga continues. But if it doesn't and it's drowned out, it has treated us very, very well. And I have absolutely no qualms with waving it goodbye if this is where it departs. In terms of our top news, though, it was kind of a long but necessary prologue into setting the stage for what we have going on now. Top news, bumpy road with inflation staying hot in every reading of 2024. The first expected Federal Reserve rate cut in more than 4 years keeps pushing later in the calendar, with some wondering if the central bank will reduce its benchmark rate at all this year. Investors will also get another glimpse of the inflation picture today when the U.S. Department of Labor releases the Consumer Price Index for April. With it, expect a new round of predictions as to when the Fed will finally ease its policy rate. By the numbers, the CPI is expected to increase by 0.4% month over month in April, matching the same rate of growth seen in March and February. On a year-over-year basis, that translates to a 3.4% rise versus 3.5% in the previous month. Stripping out the volatile categories of food and energy, core CPI is expected to increase by 0.3% month over month versus 0.4% in March and 3.6% year over year, compared with a prior 3.8%. Also, pay special attention to categories like rent, housing, transport costs, and insurance. With the January, February, and March CPI reports coming in hotter than expected, central officials have been hammering home the higher for longer message that includes yesterday's speech from Jay Powell, who reiterated a wait and see approach on monetary policy. The Fed will, quote, need to be patient and let restrictive policy do its work, he declared, adding that, quote, my confidence is not as high as it was, but expects, quote, inflation will move back down on a monthly basis to levels that were more like the lower readings we were having last year. Now, data dependent wholesale inflation came in hot on Tuesday. PPI, producer price index, inflation, that affects producers, notching its highest level in a year, albeit with some prior revisions. The NASDAQ hit a fresh all-time high record despite the reading, along with a New York Federal Reserve survey that showed consumers seeing stickier inflation ahead. The latest retail sales report will be released at the same time as today's CPI at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that could also be a significant data point for the broader economy, as mentioned on yesterday's newsletter. So let's go ahead and see what the CPI was today. It already popped up as a notification on my phone, and I saw that we were it was better than expected. So US CPI month over month, actual 0.3% versus 0.4% previously, and the estimate was 0.4%. So we expected 0.4% month over month increase in inflation. It was only 0.3%, right? So that's good, bullish news. US core CPI month over month, actual 0.3, estimated 0.3, so right in line. The core CPI was US CPI year over year, actual 3.6%, estimated 3.6. So year over year, core CPI was exactly as estimated. Retail sales, actual 0.0 versus 0.7 previous, estimated 0.4%. Okay, so after all of this, traders firm up bets on Fed rate cuts in September and December after CPI data. Fed swaps price in faster pace of 2024 rate cuts after CPI data. So, oh, wow. Netflix shares rise 1.9% pre-market, nearing deal for NFL games. I did not know they were even in the running. I mean, this is wild, guys. At this point, it's like, where the heck, and where am I going to be watching these games at? We got Netflix in here. We got tons of stuff that's happening, tons of stuff going on. But yeah, we got bullish CPI data, which fell perfectly in line with the hunch that I had at the end of yesterday, which was we started pushing, randomly in the middle of the day. We started pushing and then pushed through the end of the day, fired up and broke out on a nice hourly bull flag breakout on SPY. And it was likely the result of a CPI data leak. This happened previously where the CPI data got out, the market started pushing for no reason, and then The next day when they formally announce it, it turns out it was a beat. It's better than expected, right? Um, and then the stock market goes up. Right. So it's like no matter what you do, no matter where you're at, there are going to be rats that do rat things. And this is just people ratting out, right? Somebody goes, they call someone else, hey, if you slide me a little money, right? Let's say I got my anniversary coming up, trying to take my wife on a trip. You slide me some money, I'll let you know what the CPI data is looking like early. You go ahead and play some trades, and then we're all happy. It's legitimately exactly what happened. And we just see right in that last hour, right? We just see the market go SPY. We see it all just go right up, and then we close over top of 522.64, previous hourly resistance. Fire a nice bullish chart pattern, right? Hourly bull flag in the close, big volume, and we went up and hit PT number 2 just now before open. So for anybody that was feeling frisky and wanted to swing some last second calls, those calls should pay, right? They should pay nicely, and that was just based off of, again, undergoing experiences, inventorying experiences, and then say, okay, this happened. I'm going to make sure I take that into consideration moving forward. So many of us go through life and we say, okay, I did that, I dealt with that. If it didn't work out for you, they're like, all right, put it out of the back of my mind. Or they say, Adam, we underwent this. How come you're still talking about it? Because if you don't take the time to actively learn and parse through your experiences, you won't learn anything moving forward. Right? You won't learn absolutely anything moving forward. You can't say, oh man, that sucked, that stung. I'm gonna throw it as far away from me as possible and hope for the best next time. How are you gonna hope for the best if you haven't inventoried what happened then in order to say, okay, I'm gonna keep this in mind the next time? That doesn't mean that every time you have to make some life changing change, right? Sometimes there are things that happen that are out of your control. Not every trade will work, right? That's the only thing that is 100% guaranteed, is that you are going to have trades that don't work out. And that's fine. That's how it is. It's a game of probabilities. So you can't look every time and say, okay, this thing that I couldn't control happened, so I got to make sure that doesn't happen next time. No, it's just a game of probabilities, right? But there are certain times when things happen that you can take note of and say, okay, I'm going to factor this in moving forward. And random bullish movement at the end of a CPI day, at the end of a day leading into CPI the next day. Yeah, that's something to take note of. So I'm happy that we could be on the right side of that as well. Continuing what's already been a great week. On the move, the meme revival, the meme trade redux is continuing for the 3rd day in a row, although the big names are notching smaller gains in the pre-market session, ... for now. GameStop, ticker GAME, and AMC saw a combined 37 volatility trading halts on Tuesday. That is so ridiculous. Almost 40 halts. To put that in perspective, it was around 18 and 19 on Monday, and we had 40 the next day. So literally they doubled up, just trying to strangle this move out. Eventually closing 60.1% in the green and 32% up, respectively, after Keith Gill, known as Roaring Kitty, tweeted for the first time in nearly 3 years, although the charts preceded the tweet, which is how it always happens. You make your own luck. Preparation meeting opportunity. Kaizen. GameStop also climbed near the top of Interactive Broker's weekly list of most active assets on its platform, with many looking to make money off of game options. Are we going to see a repeat of 2021's meme frenzy? Only time will tell. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We will see. Media news bundle everything. As streaming services crowd the market, they are now racing to form alliances that offer choice and value for customers. Literally just cable. This is just cable. The dragon eats its tail once again. The latest is Comcast, which will launch a new streaming bundle that'll include Peacock, Netflix, and Apple TV at a vastly reduced price. That's everyday pricing, not an introductory pricing. Comcast CEO Brian Roberts announced, saying that the Stream Saver bundle will be available this month. Disney and Warner Bros. Discovery unveiled their own streaming bundle only a week ago, following partnerships with Fox to build a joint sports streamer. So yeah, this is something that is a trend that's going to pick up. You'll see lines in the sand. You'll see people ally with different services. There'll be a lot of crossover. They're pretty much just trying to get in front of as many eyes as possible here. And it's something that people have to do because, again, like, it's ridiculous to have to go on here and pay for Netflix, Disney, Paramount, plus Peacock, Hulu. Like, it's just Why? For what? And I do love that Disney integrated Hulu into its app because Hulu booted me, right? So flipping you the bird, Hulu. I got the workaround. Now I'm watching whatever I was watching on Hulu on Disney. So thank you, Disney. You already own Hulu. So it's like, why do I need to go to a separate app anyways? They own Hulu, put it all under the same, the same app, and let's keep it pushing. And I'd love Warner Bros. Discovery under there too, because I do have Discovery Plus, right? If you are a big food, like foodie and food show watcher like I am, Discovery Plus, they got all the good ones. Tournament of Champions, my favorite. If you guys like food competition shows, chef shows, exhibition type. I mean, absolutely unbeaten in terms of food competition, just unparalleled food competition TV. But my media preferences aside, we're bundling up, lines being drawn in the sand. And I think that these streamers are finally starting to realize that collaboration is the better route rather than competition, especially in a game where margins are so thin and it's so tough to be profitable, right? It's so tough to be profitable in the streaming space that it's like people are finally starting to realize, oh, I should just get my freaking stuff wherever I can get it and call it a day instead of being like, oh, you can only get Disney stuff here at Disney. It's like, no, watch it wherever, but we're just getting paid for you watching it, right? Um, we also got Tesla, pre-market Tesla with a nice little daily bull flag. Got back above a major area and broke the daily downtrend yesterday. So there's a lot of volume coming in on Tesla yesterday as well. I had to see it. I had to see it. Tesla's in a spot where it has to prove it now. Again, when you have a community, you're kind of like a parent in that you want to really like make sure that you are filtering what your people are exposed to, right? What your family is exposed to, and that's how I am with Tesla. So Tesla is like that brother that went off and made the wrong choices, and I'm like the dad, and I'm like, you got to prove to me that I can bring you back around the family. That's what Tesla is. Tesla's gonna prove it to me spot. So we'll see if they can prove it. But I did see the volume coming in yesterday, and it had me looking, right? Had me looking, and I've been watching, but I wanted to see it do something. So we'll see if it can do that something here this morning. Put a little alert on pre-market high, see if we can bust pre-market high and hold above. And if so, maybe we can head up to test that 198.87 level, since that's our previous daily resistance, and we broke through the daily downtrend today. Little heads up on Tessie there. Consumer news under the sea. Red Lobster will reportedly file for bankruptcy as soon as next week, as the largest U.S. seafood chain works to reach a deal with its creditors and negotiate concessions from landlords. It also just closed around 99 locations with over 50 restaurants and their equipment being auctioned off. Red Lobster has been struggling with financial troubles for some time on account of less foot traffic during the pandemic, higher interest rates, and a failed all you can eat shrimp promotion. That cracked me up. I guess they had a promotion for all you can eat shrimp, and it turns out Americans can eat a lot of shrimp, and it pretty much cleaned them out. So whoever came up with that promotion, I doubt they're still working there anymore. But man, that is unfortunate. They're like, hey, I know it can bail us out. All you can eat shrimp. Turns out all we did was just get in, insurmountable debt from the all you can eat shrimp campaign. Who would have known? Apparently, the Ozempic to shrimp ratio is still not something that could reach a nice homeostasis to be beneficial for Red Lobster. Majority owner Thai Union Group previously said it would exit the chain due to prolonged negative financial contributions. Yeah, basically, this ain't paying. I got to get out of Red Lobster. I've never been to Red Lobster, but I mean, Beyonce likes it. I have had the biscuits because they sell those in the boxes, and Bailey's mom made them one time because her brother-in-law is a big fan. Man, those biscuits go crazy. So good. I mean, definitely like nowhere near anything healthy possible. It's literally just cheddar and butter and just like flakiness. But I mean, it's amazing from like a gastronomic ecstasy standpoint. Like it is. If you like cheese and gluten, it'll hit. But obviously, cheese and gluten does not agree with anybody's digestive tract. So shouldn't be eating it. But if you slip and fall into a container of those biscuits, you'll be happy. At least initial, right? It might wear off, but You'll be happy. Your taste buds will be happy. And initially, today's markets in Asia, Japan up 0.1%, Hong Kong closed, China down 0.8, India down 0.2. London, we're up 0.3, Paris down 0.2, Frankfurt up 0.4. All this has changed for the US, right? We were flat, now we're up. Gold up 0.5%, Bitcoin up 1.7%. CPI data we got, retail sales we got. Retail sales lower than expected, literally just 0% change in retail sales. But we'll see if that affects anything. What else is happening? Gemini era, Google reveals new AI powered products. I'll be doing updates on that, I believe. I feel like I'll just take a day to do AI updates. That'll be fun. Following the release of GPT 4.0, OpenAI chief scientist steps down. I wonder why. I wonder if this is like a him falling on his own sword. This is going too far, too fast. And I won't be a part of it type of thing. U.S. senators push for $32 billion in emergency spending on AI. You see? Do you see how the top three of our rapid stop news rundown is AI related? If you are not locked in and have no idea of what is going on here, you have to be registered at I'mBetterDaily.com for our Kaizen event. 3 days. Stocks in AI, large language models, how to use them, how they apply to you. And then also these custom AI bots, which are the biggest, in my opinion, the biggest development that you can capitalize off of, both personally and professionally. So yes, there are a lot of different AIs, and for my VIP people, you'll get access to the bot that I made, Mr. Prometheus bot, right? That has access to a litany of different AI platforms and tools to use. So if you say I need so and so, I need a text to website builder that's free. Cool. Pulls it up. That type of thing. If that interests you and you don't have a little army of robot minions that can help do your bidding and extend your reach and increase the value you can provide both within the constraints of your job and outside of it, then yeah, you should be there, right? This is one of those things where I don't know if you guys seen the Three Body Problem on Netflix, but the rate at which we hit these critical thresholds for technology is decreasing so much. They go through, there's a point where they're talking to like the alien. The alien says, how long did it take you to get from, you know, to develop fire? And then it's like, oh, it took 1,000 years or whatever. And then it's like, okay, how long did it take you to develop agriculture from there? And it was like 500 years, right? And then from there, right, the combustion engine, oh, it was like this many, it was like 50 years, right? And then you get to, nuclear power and the internet, and the time just shrinks and shrinks and shrinks and shrinks. That same thing is happening now where you will get, okay, major large language models were introduced in 2022. It is now 2024, right? Which means that based off of that scale and this critical threshold where we're hitting and then ramping up, right? It's like, so we were cavemen and then we farmed, and then we went from farming to the combustion engine and cities and air travel and all that. It's like you hit this thing and you go parabolic. We're at that hitting that threshold and going parabolic state. I mean, you have conversational AI with GPT 4.0 that is barely distinguishable from a human. Like we're hitting that critical threshold. So you gotta keep up and be locked in. So if you feel like you're not up to date with what's happening, you're not using this every part of what you do each and every day, you got to make sure that you are there. And that's just all I'm gonna leave it at, right? You don't want to be that guy that says, oh man, now it can do my job. What the heck do I do? No, you prepare for that now. Right? God didn't tell Noah, oh, hey, the flood is happening ASAP, learn how to swim. He said the flood is going to happen, right? Here are the plans for a boat. Don't ask to be bailed out, right? For my people, for my Christians that are here, and for my believers that are listening, don't ask to be bailed out, because there are things that the Lord lets happen. And this was a great message that they taught at Union Church a few weeks ago. There are things that he lets happen in order to get you to the place that he needs you to be. So don't pray for the rain to go away. The rain is coming, right? The rain is coming. It's what you do to prepare for it that's the key, right? You're given the blueprint. You're not given the boat. He could have given him the boat. He didn't. He gave him the blueprint. I think that's huge. I always am looking for the blueprint. I don't like it. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't deemed that I was fit to do what was necessary to live a good life here, right? That I didn't. If I'm here, and since you're here, it means you as a being already had the tools to go through and triumph over whatever trials and tribulations you'd come across in this life, right? So just make sure that when you are given the blueprint, you take the blueprint and you use that blueprint to continue to sail forward, right? You don't just say, oh, Lord, save me. No, he gave you a brain and free will to save yourself. right? And enabled and put in your path the things that you need in order to succeed. But everybody's got their struggles, right? That's part of what makes life amazing. It wouldn't be a good life if you had no struggles. You wouldn't know what it would feel like to win and triumph over them. Novo Nordisk, ticker NVO, to test obesity drugs and alcohol use. Baidu, ticker BIDU, robotaxi unit may turn profitable in 2025. Autodrama BYD unveils new hybrid pickup truck. Boeing, ticker BA, ran afoul of criminal settlement on 737 crashes. IEA cuts 2024 oil demand outlook. Copper hits record high. Cleveland Cliffs CEO, ticker CLF CEO, almost zero chance of nipping slash US Steel deal. Yeah, it makes sense. NYCB to sell $5 billion in mortgage warehouse loans to JP Morgan unit. And that'll wrap it up today, May 15th, 2024, y'all. I switched back screens expecting to like see myself, and I could not see myself. But yeah, I hope everybody has a great rest of the day, right? Let's lock in, continue to aim to get 1% better. And yeah, finish this week strong. It's hump day, baby. We still got the majority of the week ahead of us. If you didn't have the first best 2 days of the week, you still got tons of time to get it done, right? And to make it a great week. So I'll see you guys back here tomorrow for our next pre-market prep session. Have a good one. Peace.